The evacuation ships departed one by one, their engines casting brief shadows over the dying world of Nephi Prime. Captain Elena Rodriguez watched through the viewport as the last Zephyrian transport disappeared into hyperspace, leaving behind a planet and its people that had become inconvenient to save. 37 species, muttered Chief Engineer Williams, checking his tablet. 37 different civilizations promised aid to the Netherians, and every single one found an excuse to leave. The Netherian plague had started small, a genetic disorder affecting their ability to process certain proteins. Treatable, the galactic medical community had declared, but expensive. Very expensive. As the condition spread and mutated, becoming more virulent and costly to address, the excuses began flowing. The Crystalline Consortium cited budgetary constraints. The Hegemony Coalition discovered scheduling conflicts. The Vorthan Collective simply stopped returning communications. One by one, the galaxy's most advanced civilizations found reasons to redirect their resources elsewhere. "Captain," came a weak voice from behind them. Dr. Cathera, one of the few remaining Netherian scientists, approached on unsteady legs. Her once vibrant blue skin had faded to a sickly gray, and her large, expressive eyes held the weight of a dying species. "Your shuttle is prepared. The last transport leaves in 6 hours." Rodriguez turned to face the alien scientist she'd grown to respect over the past months. The Netherians were remarkable, brilliant researchers, gifted artists, natural peacemakers who had spent millennia mediating conflicts across their sector. Their contributions to galactic civilization were immeasurable, but none of that mattered now that helping them required sacrifice. "Dr. Cathera," Rodriguez said gently, "we're not leaving." The Netherian's eyes widened. "Captain, please. We cannot ask this of you. Your people have already done more than anyone else." "The medical supplies, the research assistants. The research isn't finished," Williams interrupted, not looking up from his calculations. "We're close to a breakthrough on the protein synthesis issue. Maybe 2 weeks, 3 at most. But the radiation levels..." Cathera protested. "Your ship's shielding won't hold indefinitely. And the plague, humans aren't immune. Dr. Patterson already shows early symptoms." Rodriguez glanced toward the medical bay where Dr. Patterson continued working despite his deteriorating condition. He'd been the first human to volunteer for direct exposure, studying the plague's progression firsthand. 3 other crew members had since contracted the disease, yet none had requested evacuation. "Doctor," Rodriguez said firmly, "humanity learned something long ago that apparently the rest of the galaxy hasn't figured out yet. You don't abandon family." Cathera's eyes filled with tears, a trait humans and Netherians surprisingly shared. "We are not your family, Captain. We are not even your species. Family isn't about genetics," Rodriguez replied. "It's about choice. And we choose to stay." The next 18 days tested every limit of human endurance. The radiation poisoning spread through the crew. The plague claimed 2 human volunteers. The ship's systems began failing under the constant bombardment from Nephi Prime's deteriorating sun. But humanity's finest scientists worked alongside dying Netherian researchers, sharing data, theories, and hope. On day 19, Dr. Patterson's voice crackled over the comm system, weak but triumphant. "We've got it. The synthesis compound works. We can save them." The cure wasn't perfect. It required ongoing treatment and couldn't reverse all damage, but it stopped the plague's progression. More importantly, it could be mass-produced with relatively common materials. News of the breakthrough spread across the galaxy within hours. Suddenly, every species that had abandoned Nephi Prime developed renewed interest in humanitarian aid. Ships arrived carrying supplies, medical equipment, and delegations eager to claim credit for the rescue operation. Rodriguez watched from her hospital bed as Zephyrian officials posed for photographs with recovering Netherian children. The same crystalline consortium that had cited budget constraints now offered to fund reconstruction efforts, for a modest stake in Netherian mining rights, of course. "They're calling it the greatest rescue operation in galactic history," Kethera said, sitting beside the captain's bed. Her skin had regained some of its blue luminescence, though she still appeared fragile. "The news feeds are full of inspiring stories about interspecies cooperation." "Let them," Rodriguez replied, though her voice carried an edge of bitterness. "The important thing is your people survived." Kethera was quiet for a long moment. "Captain, may I ask you something? Why did humanity stay when everyone else left? Your people had nothing to gain and everything to lose." Rodriguez considered the question. Around the galaxy, various species prided themselves on logic, efficiency, or strength. Humans were often dismissed as emotional, irrational creatures driven by primitive instincts. "Because," she said finally, "sometimes the most logical thing you can do is something completely illogical. Sometimes the smart play is to make the stupid choice. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stay when everyone else runs." She turned to look at Kethera. "Your people spent 1,000 years mediating our conflicts, teaching us diplomacy, showing us better ways to resolve differences. Did you really think we forget that lesson when you needed it most?" Later, as reports spread throughout the galaxy about humanity's reckless heroism, other species began to take notice. The humans hadn't just saved the Netherians. They demonstrated something that made civilizations across the stars profoundly uncomfortable. They'd proven that sometimes the primitive emotional responses everyone mocked were exactly what the galaxy needed most. And no species would ever look at humanity quite the same way again.